Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Smith. I am the current chair for the Kentucky SHRM State Board Council. Today, I'm very excited to be a part of and introducing this very important emphasis on workforce development and the utilization of registered apprenticeships to accomplish workforce goals. Today, I'm honored to introduce Michelle DeJohn with the Kentucky Career Center Executive Director in Office of Employer and Apprenticeship Services. Michelle brings more than 20 years of workforce development experience to her role of Executive Director in the Office for the Employer and Apprenticeship Services, the Kentucky Career Center system. Michelle has prior experiences as a Human Resources Training Manager. The Office for Employer and Apprenticeship Services brings business services their workforce needs and assists job seekers. The assessment, credentialing, and remediation, work-based training, such as Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs, labor market information, tax credit services, and the federal bonding program. So they do a lot of great things for the state of Kentucky, and I'm very excited to have Michelle and her team present to us today. So Michelle, take it away.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you again. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us for National Apprenticeship Week. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this event and supporting registered apprenticeship. I want to personally thank registered apprenticeship sponsors and apprentices who are here today. And I want to thank you all for joining us this morning for making a difference in supporting registered apprenticeship. It's National Apprenticeship Week nationwide, and National Apprenticeship Week is a celebration that brings business leaders together, career seekers, labor, apprentices, educational institutions, and other critical partners to demonstrate their support for registered apprenticeship, as well as highlight successes and the value of registered apprenticeship for rebuilding our economy and advancing racial and gender equity and supporting underserved communities. It's a week-long celebration, highlights the benefits of registered apprenticeship in preparing diverse, inclusive, and highly skilled workforces to meet the needs of talented employers across a diverse industries. If you'd like to learn more about registered apprenticeship or National Apprenticeship Week, please visit apprenticeship.gov for a listing of national apprenticeship activities and events in our state. We're excited today. We have some registered apprenticeship sponsors and apprentices, and the team has put together a great webinar to tell you about registered apprenticeship. Registered apprenticeship is substantial for both career seekers and for employers. It's a earn and learn model. It enables employers to fill open jobs, improve productivity, profitability, and reduce turnover while providing American workforce with pathways to new careers and acquire skills for needed jobs. In Kentucky, particularly, we have 594 registered apprenticeship programs with 347 employer sponsors, covering 585 occupations with approximately 4,152 apprentices in the Commonwealth. We have outstanding percentages in working with minorities, women, and veterans. We're growing every day. And just this calendar year, over 572 apprentices have completed their apprenticeship opportunity. We also work with our youth with the track program, with over 400 youth and 80 employers working with youth. I just want to take and highlight a few successes before we get into the specifics of today's agenda. Registered apprenticeship has grown by more than 264% here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Salaries range from $45,000 to $72,412. In 2019, our highest retention rate was at 87.2%, really close to the national average. And after 10 years, 71% of Kentucky apprentices are employed and making a median wage of $72,412. We have 408 apprentices in healthcare and social assistance occupations, and even a registered apprenticeship in the utility industries. Those apprentices are making over $100,000 salary at 1 year, 3 year, and 5 years out, thanks to these statistics from the Kentucky Center for Statistics. Registered apprenticeship is a workforce solution that can take someone who knows nothing about an occupation and turn them into a skilled career employee by the end of their apprenticeship, which means it addresses recruitment, training, and retention. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us and helping us celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. I'm going to turn the agenda over to Angela Rogers of the Kentucky Career Center's Office of Employer and Apprenticeship Services.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about our state approving agency. This is who we are, and this is the team that makes up the state approving agency, also known as the State Apprenticeship Agency. We have our executive director, who you just heard, Michelle Dijon. We have our deputy director, Tim Wireman, and we are the apprenticeship and training representatives. They call us the ATR. The registered apprenticeship program coordinators are Sean Campbell and myself, Angela Rogers. The workforce development consultant and specializing in apprenticeship is Lawrence Winburn. The next slide, please. Thank you. And as an ATR, which is an apprenticeship training representative, we are responsible for overseeing and managing the federal reporting system for the Kentucky State Approving Agency. We address questions and regulatory issues concerning the CFR, Title 29, Part 29, and Title 29, Part 30, along with the 787 KAR 3010. We register and oversee all registered apprenticeship programs in Kentucky. We provide technical assistance and support. We answer questions about the apprenticeship model. We guide partners and businesses through the steps to develop, design, and register a program. We connect businesses with training providers. We advise partners on sources of funding to support apprenticeships. We conduct registered apprenticeship program quality assurance reviews. Next up, you'll hear from Sean Campbell.
And shock is going to be Winburn is going to speak. This is Lawrence is going to speak. So this part of the presentation, we're going to discuss the one solution for recruitment, training, and retention. Now, we all know the realities of today's labor market. You know, positions are available, but workers are not trained to meet the business needs or requirements. Likewise, candidates are not able to secure employment because they lack the skills that the businesses seek. You know, apprenticeship can bridge that gap. Apprenticeship structure, as it is today, was established in 1937 with the passage of the Fitzgerald Act. Since then, it has continued to evolve with a strong focus on increasing diversity amongst apprentices, industries, and occupations. You know, registered apprenticeship is an employer-driven model that combines on-the-job training with related instruction that increases an apprentice's skill and their wages. Stop my video, you all, because I do not want to lose you all. All right. You know, registered apprenticeship is a work-based learning strategy with key differences from other training approaches. It provides a paycheck from day one and wage increases as apprentices become more proficient. It's education and work simultaneously. It combines both on-the-job training and related instruction. It results in an industry-recognized credential. The registered apprenticeship is a flexible training strategy that can be customized to meet the needs of any business. Apprentices can be new hires or current employees. Apprenticeships help businesses thrive by developing highly skilled, highly productive employees, reducing rates, increasing productivity, lowering the cost of recruitment, increasing safety in the workplace. Some of the other benefits for business include customized training, resulting in highly skilled employees trained in the industry employer specifications. Increased knowledge transfer due to the on-the-job training with a subject matter specialist combined with the related instruction. Employee retention by instilling employee ownership in their contribution to the business. An emphasis on safety training that may reduce worker compensation costs. Also is a stable, predictable pipeline of qualified workers. A structured, systematic approach to training allows employers to set the benchmark and structure for return on investment of their training dollars. You know, USDOL has over 1,200 apprenticeable occupations, and we're somewhere really, honestly, around close to about 1,500 occupations. And those just about everything. You're looking at aerospace engineer to hotel manager, nursing, computer programming, facility manager, camera operator, you name it. Apprenticeship is, the occupation is there. So we're dying to share that with you. All right, look, we want to share a little bit about our numbers, but before that, I'm going to register apprenticeship is a proven approach for preparing workers for jobs and meeting the business needs for a highly skilled workforce that continues to innovate and adapt to meet the needs of the 21st century. Now let's take a look at the numbers of registered apprenticeship in the state of Kentucky. Right now, we currently have 349 registered sponsors. We have 595 registered apprenticeship programs. Just last year, from October 1st to September 30th of this year, we have 601 apprentices that have completed their program. That's just 1 year. For overall registered apprenticeship completed apprentices, we have 6,943. And I always put emphasis on this last piece. Registered apprenticeship is the original 4-year degree. Say it one more time. Registered apprenticeship is the original 4-year degree. 1937, y'all, 1937. All right, so let me go ahead and turn this over to my brother, Sean Campbell. Brother Sean, hey, brother.
Thank you, Lawrence. As Lawrence said, my name is Sean Campbell, and I'm an apprenticeship and training representative in the Office of Employer and Apprenticeship Services. Angela started us off with who we are and what we do, followed by Lawrence explaining exactly what registered apprenticeship is. Since registered apprenticeship is an employer-driven initiative, we thought of no better way than to have some sponsors talk about their program successes. So I have the pleasure of introducing first, Mary Beth Martin. Mary Beth is President and Chief People Officer at Interapp Skills. Mary Beth, please tell us about your registered apprenticeship program.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So nice to see you, and thank you very much for the invite. I'm very excited to be here today. As Sean said, my name is Mary Beth Martin. I am the Chief People Officer and President of Interapp Skills. And I'm really, really anxious to share with you some of the work that Interapp does and some of the value that we've seen through our registered apprenticeship program. I've also brought one of my dear friends and colleagues with me to the conversation today. Her name is Keisha Patillo. You'll hear from her this afternoon. She is an apprentice of ours. She's been with us for a while, and I'm excited for you to be able to kind of hear what the apprenticeship model has done for her in her life specifically. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about Interapp. Next slide, please. Interapp is a technology services company in Louisville, Kentucky, and our bread and butter is Interapp Skills, and that is our business line that is focused on upskilling, reskilling individuals all across Kentucky and really throughout the U.S. We have expanded in many different markets and territories, and I will tell you today, if you are an employer that does not have a registered apprenticeship model or program, there's lots of value that comes with it, and it's not nearly as scary or as difficult as many people would think. I do feel like that there is a bit of a myth that I hope to kind of destigmatize for you today. So Interapp Skills is a huge part of our business. I would be amiss if I did not recognize the other two business lines that sit within Interapp. We have IT Solutions, which is a business line that's solely focused on kind of mobile development, web development. If you have a project that you need completed for your business, you can call us and say, hey, Mary Beth, we need a new website. Do you have a team that can help us with that? And certainly we do. The other side of our business is what we call business process outsourcing. And that side of our business really focuses on contact center, sales support, operational support. We do some IT help desk. And what I love about Interapp's model today is that Interapp Skills really does serve as a pipeline or a funnel to talent in the other two sides of our business. business. And that has been incredibly meaningful for us and also for many of our clients as well. Next slide, please. While Interapt has a registered apprenticeship model, I love that we are able to kind of expand and dissipate that to many of our employer partners and clients. So you likely recognize many of these logos here on the screen today. Some pretty big names, as you can see. Certainly this is not our entire kind of employer portfolio or client portfolio. Lots of other businesses that we serve too. I think it likely comes as no surprise that the apprenticeship model certainly trickles over into the work that we do with our clients. And day by day, my hope is that we are not only making a really strong impact in these businesses, but also helping these businesses see and understand that the apprenticeship model works. The talent that we place inside of these organizations, I will certainly say, is just as strong, if not stronger, than individuals that they may go out and find kind of on their own. Next slide, please. All right, so Interapt skills. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I could talk to you all day, every day about why I love Interapt so much, and the job that I get to do might be a little bit biased, but I really think that I've got one of the best jobs in the company. And honestly, like I'm going to try to hold back my enthusiasm. I think you will likely see the passion that comes from me. I'm telling you, I believe in this work. I believe in Interapt. I've seen it. My background is 20 plus years in core human resources. I did not come into Interapt 2 years ago with my eye on kind of being an advocate for apprenticeship like many of you. I really knew very little about it. I did not know that there was apprenticeship in the world of technology, and a lot of people don't, quite frankly. I have sat in shoes, I've stood in the shoes of people that oversee teams of talent acquisition and recruitment, and I know how hard it can be to find really solid talent. I also know how painful it is when that strong talent kind of comes in and then decides to take on another opportunity. And what I have found through the apprenticeship model is we've got a solution for both of those areas. And we also have a solution when I think about the importance of diverse talent in the workplace and providing meaningful employment opportunity to all, regardless of your background, education status. There's much good to be had. Next slide, please. So what is Interapt skills and why do I love what I do so much each and every day? Well, I'll tell you, kind of simply put, our goal is to strive to make a positive impact on people and communities throughout the state. Interapt skills is solely focused on truly providing opportunity to all. And what I really love about our model is we go out, we identify individuals that really want to make a shift kind of in their life. They want to learn a new skill. They want to learn a new trade. They want to become employable. They want to change not only their life, but also the trajectory of their life for their children and future generations. And we make that happen each day and every day. We go in and we fully fund the cost of upskilling to help launch a career in tech. So when I think about Java developer roles, when I think about data analysts, cybersecurity, IT support, all of these areas that we play in, plus we can truly upskill and reskill individuals through a very immersive program. Typically anywhere between 12 and 16 weeks is how long our training program takes. And it is absolutely no cost to the participants that go through the program. In fact, many times we pay them a small stipend to participate because we do not want to to create any additional financial hardship for the individuals. It is a full-time role. It is for 3 to 4 months. You are solely focused on learning a new skill, but gosh, it is certainly worth every bit of the effort. Next slide, please. It likely comes as no surprise that the work we do is certainly very focused on people. I don't like to say people are our product, but the reality is we are a people company. So for me, it is all about the talent. And I think that's one of the things that I really thrive in when I think about the work I do with apprenticeship and with Interapt in general. My focus is truly on finding the best talent. And when I say best talent, that doesn't mean someone that comes to me with a very strong resume and a pedigree that you say, oh my gosh, you graduated from X, Y, and Z college and you've done this and this and this. What I'm looking for are team members that come across my path that say, Mary Beth, I'm going to give whatever it takes if you can help me find an opportunity. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to push through when I think that there's no way for me to be successful. I've got the grit to overcome whatever may kind of stand in front of me. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. In order for us to go out and find that talent, it likely comes as no surprise that we don't go and post necessarily on LinkedIn or on Indeed. Certainly there is a time and place. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. And I'm also not saying it's bad if you've got a resume with a really strong pedigree. I think that there is opportunity for all, truly, regardless of your background. But for Interapt and for a company that takes so much pride on the registered apprenticeship, we really are going out and seeking individuals that have taken a bit of a non-traditional career path. So we go out, we partner with organizations, we find this talent, and then we bring them in to our organization. They get fully trained up. We bring them in and we provide holistic support mechanisms. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that the people that we seek out are totally prepared and they are fully supported to launch a career in tech. Next slide, please. I've talked to you a little bit about kind of the sourcing and the selection. The training part of our pathway to success is crucial. Interapt is not a training provider, but we do lean on experts in the industry. General Assembly is a really big partner of ours, but certainly there are many, many others. And our focus really is on being able to provide kind of that immersive technical training in conjunction with the critically important on-the-job training. And that leads us into the apprenticeship. You know, my goal here at Interapt is not to upskill resources and be able to hang on to them for the rest of their lives. My job really is to launch a career in tech for these folks. And for me, the most important thing for someone to be able to launch their career is that we can provide them with meaningful employment opportunities. So while many of our clients that you saw on the previous slide may not have a registered apprenticeship, the beauty in our model is that we do. So these team members can come in, be Raptors, as we call them as a team member here at Interapt, reap all the benefits that I and my colleagues would as an employee of Interapt, but day to day we'll get really, really meaningful work experience when we think about kind of the operational work that they're doing to help launch them to be kind of even more employable in the future, which obviously would lead to a career. Next slide, please. All right, it probably does not, again, surprise you when you hear me talk about Interapt and the work that we do, that when people come in, they stay. I'm really, really proud that we've got a 3.8% attrition rate. That is unheard of in today's society. You know that there is truly a talent shortage, and individuals that kind of come into the workplace, it's very easy for them to get snatched up and go take another opportunity. Sometimes the grass does look greener on the other side. I'm not saying it always is, but we know that sometimes that may be the perception. But when you work for a company like Interapt that takes so much pride in being able to holistically support that person exactly where they are, we recognize that, you know, my needs are likely very different from the person that sits next to me. And equal does not mean the same. It doesn't mean the same. You don't have to treat everyone as a cookie cutter kind of model. We all have unique needs, and Interapt recognizes that. So when you work for a company that I believe where that is kind of the heartbeat, the DNA of the organization, you know, we've got individuals that come in that stick. We know that happy, well-equipped people become very committed, capable employees. So our focus is on that, both personal, professional growth. We want people to feel like they can come in to Interapt and bring their best self to work every day, regardless of what that may look like, that they can be unapologetically their authentic self and work on very devoted, committed, hardworking teams. All of that creates this culture of belonging, which in my opinion is one of the most important keys to success across any organization. Next slide, please. All right, so I love to share this slide with anyone that I speak with about our program, because it really does kind of paint such a beautiful picture of how we support growth at every step along the way of the apprenticeship model. For many of our apprentices, it could be their very first time working in a professional environment, certainly be their very first time working in a world of tech. And we know both of those things can be a little bit scary. It's not an easy feat. It really is not. But what I'm committed to doing is making sure that anyone that crosses our path does feel that, again, holistic support kind of every step of the way. So I've broken this slide down into 4 different quadrants. And I like to think that that represents kind of each quarter of the year. When I think about the apprenticeship, it's a 12-month model, right? So each quarter we're sort of focused on something new and different. And there are measurable outcomes. There are expectations that one would have, and we strive to get our apprentices to succeed in. That focus kind of very first in the beginning is really just on the transition. What happens once you go from that immersive training, I've graduated, I've learned a new skill, now I'm stepping into this apprenticeship and I'm likely earning more money today than I've ever earned before. It's important for us to talk to people about budgets and about how to manage your spend. It's important to talk about what does it feel like when you walk into a professional environment? How can we support you and get you ready for that? And then of course, let's start talking about development plans, because once that training is complete, that doesn't mean the growth stops there. In fact, that's just the very beginning. That is the tip of the spear. Then obviously it kind of transitions over to integration. Let's get you fully connected with the team. Let's get you connected with a strong mentor, someone that has walked the pathway that you've been on before, somebody that you feel very, very comfortable with, just being openly vulnerable, being fully transparent. Let's talk about getting you to really understand the importance of not only Interapp's culture, but the culture for the business that you may be working in with one of our clients. And throughout that process, we go from the transition to the integration, then you get fully immersed. You start to become a really, really valuable member of the team. You've got kind of this critical thinking and problem solving cap on. We're talking about how do you present yourself in a professional environment? Let's get you some opportunities to speak in front of groups, something that might be very uncomfortable, but obviously really important. Let's expand those relationships. And then ultimately at the end of the 12-month, we're ready for takeoff. We are ready to launch a career. You've got a full portfolio built. You know who you are when you think about your professional identity, and you've got some long-term career goals. So over the course of those 12 months, it's really intense, but I'm telling you, once the 12 months is up, you've got a person that has come in, learned a new skill, kind of new trick of the trade, and is ready really to step into any organization and be fully functioning, very successful. Next slide, please. Growth doesn't stop once the apprenticeship ends. Certainly that is a launching point, but many of our team members come in and they may have a desire to kind of achieve their own educational goals. That's not the case for everybody, and that is okay. But if we have team members that come in that say, Maribeth, I never once thought that I would be capable of kind of graduating from college or even enrolling in college. I never thought that I would have the financial means or even the confidence to take that step, but now I think I am. Can you help me with that? And my answer is absolutely yes, we can help you with that. We have partnered and will continue to partner with universities and community colleges throughout the United States. Several of them are listed here. And what we have found is once we kind of make the connection with the university and we explain the work that we're doing, the immersive training, the apprenticeship, we've actually been able to earn kind of credit hours for both the training and the apprenticeship. So if you have someone that is interested in pursuing a degree, they actually have, they're a few steps ahead from other individuals that may be enrolling at the same time for work that they've already done, which is a pretty cool offering in my opinion. Next slide. Okay, so you've heard me talk a lot about Interapp. You've seen some of the talent that we have. You probably can tell how passionate I am about the company and the work I do. I could talk to you all day, every day about this, but I really do want to be able to kind of illustrate some real-time impact. So I want to share with you kind of 2 different experiences today. Next slide, please. One relates to the work that we have done and will continue to do with a very strong partner of ours, which is GE Appliances, located in Louisville, Kentucky. GE was one of the first employer partners to come and kind of advocate and stand behind the work that Interapps is doing. We launched a cohort back in, I believe it was 2018, 2019, and GE very quickly stepped up and said, we want to take a pretty large group of that cohort. We want to bring them into our organization. We need some help with technology. We want you to help us with the Bluetooth technology that we have on our appliances. And today we've got fully dedicated teams that are working on appliances that maybe are already in the market, appliances that have yet to be released to the market. So super secret stuff our team gets to touch every day. So if you have seen a GE appliance that is enabled with Bluetooth technology, our team here at Interapt has done that. And that team has truly come from the apprenticeship model. So when I tell you that the apprentices are smart, many times much smarter than me, can do things that I can never even imagine, like it's true. Like there is real value in the work that we're doing today and the people that we are obviously investing in. Next slide. When I think about the people that we're investing in, I've had the opportunity to get to know just some really talented, capable, committed, just good-hearted team members. And I'm so thankful for that. That's probably one of the very best parts of my role. Keisha, I mentioned earlier in the day, is one of those individuals, and we are so thankful and grateful to have Keisha on our team. Keisha is one of those individuals that I told you kind of has a bit of a non-traditional career path. She received a bachelor's degree in biology, decided she wanted to do something a little bit different. Life circumstance brought her to Louisville, which then she crossed Interapp's path, and now she's a junior software developer working on our team. So I'd like to introduce you to Keisha and then let you just eavesdrop a little bit on a conversation that she and I are going to have here. Keisha, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
I sure can. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining, Keisha. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day just to chat for a little bit. I would love to know kind of what made you decide to join Interapp's kind of apprenticeship or training program in the very beginning. What drew you to that?
Well, for me, it was definitely the potential. I saw the potential for professional development and to add some more skills to my skill set. When I first heard about the program, I thought it was a great opportunity, just being able to be trained and then get actual experience in a field that's in very high demand. That was very appealing to me.
Awesome. And Keisha, how would you say your kind of experience has been overall? Not only as you went kind of through the training program, but also as you stepped into the world as an apprentice. I mean, what has that felt like for you? How's that experience been?
Well, my experience has definitely been very positive. Starting with the training, it was led by very knowledgeable and qualified professionals. And then the skills that I gained in that training was very applicable to the work that I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And also I have the opportunity to work with some great mentors who are, also very knowledgeable and supportive, and just genuinely seem like they are just as interested in my professional development as I am. And
Yeah.
that's been very invaluable to me.
I also think, Keisha, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've probably made some really good friends along the way, right? Because you weren't the only person that went through this training program in Louisville. There were many others, and several of them are sitting with you today, day in and day out on the work you do with GE Appliances. Is it safe to say that you've made some good friends along the way?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And Keisha, when you think about kind of your career at Interapt, you are so close to kind of completing that graduation. You are just a few hours shy of earning that apprentice certificate. When you think about kind of the future at Interapt and beyond, what gets you really excited?
So I am very excited about my continued professional development at Interapt. As I just mentioned, I work with some great. My mentors are the best, and I've learned so much. And I know that I'll continue to learn more under them. And just kind of on that same note, I'm very excited about being able to kind of keep this model going. So getting to the point where I'm knowledgeable enough to mentor incoming apprentices is just, that thought is very exciting to me.
Yeah. And I have no doubt, Keisha, you're going to get there probably quicker than you think. And that's something that I did not touch on earlier, but really the beauty of this model is you have talent that comes in that doesn't know anything about tech, but because they are coupled with such a strong mentor, someone that has really kind of walked that path, they make a very close bond. And then as Keisha, for example, continues to grow throughout her professional kind of career here, she will then become that same mentor to other individuals that come into our organization. So it's really such a beautiful kind of life cycle, if you will. It's not HR providing all of this holistic support. Many times it's the peers and colleagues that have walked this exact same journey, which is just something really nice and meaningful for sure. Keisha, thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. I'm so thankful for you and glad that you were a part of our organization. And again, guys, you know, if you have not kind of walked this road of apprenticeship yet as an employer, I would certainly encourage you to do so. Happy to chat anytime about my experience and the lessons we've learned, but it's definitely worth the investment, 110%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth, and thank you, Keisha. I'm sure you will, Keisha, you'll go on to be a very successful mentor. Sounds like you're trending in that direction. And Mary Beth, thank you for your presentation. I like how you touched on the flexibility of an apprenticeship program. There is no cookie cutter program. It truly is designed by each individual employer for the best needs of that company. So I appreciate that. And then also touching on the partnering with different organizations, whether they're employers or training providers or whatever. So appreciate those thoughts. So thank you very much. Next up, we have Brandon Serbu from Messer Construction, and he's a craft force development specialist. So Brandon, would you tell us a little bit about your program?
Sure. Thanks so much, Sean. And before we get started, I just want to reach out to Kentucky Apprenticeship. Thank you for this opportunity. Lawrence, Angela, Sean, you've all been great to work with, and thanks for having me on. Also, I've got Cedric Mack. He's one of our apprentices, and he's a real star in the company. So wanted to invite him on. So I've got a couple questions I'll be running by Cedric towards the end of this presentation. So Messer Construction Company's registered apprenticeship programs. We started registered apprenticeship to give a clear pathway for growth, for career growth for our craft people. So we're a construction company, and you know, part of our message is we are building. About half of our employees are craft, and so it's really important that we invest in our labor force, and we make sure that they have the best resources available. So next slide, please. A little bit more about Messer Construction. We started in 1932, so we've been around for quite a while, and we've been employee owned since 1990. So I really like this about the company. Everybody who works here has a stake in it. So so it really, you know, quality is so important in any job, but especially in construction, because rework can just kill you, and you don't get that repeat work from the owners. So becoming employee owned is really, you know, our focus on quality is the strongest I've seen, and really impressive. So we've got 10 regional markets. So we have branched out from our original Cincinnati market all across the eastern US here. So we're in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, of course, but also down south in Tennessee and in North Carolina. So so you really think it's important to go into a bunch of different markets, and you know, because every market's got its own needs. So that's where Messer Construction's coming from. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a fun slide. This is something that I like to go over with new apprentices. And Lawrence, you mentioned that 1937 was the start of apprenticeship, and absolutely the way it looks now. But if we go back a few years, 4,000 years ago, I love going over this with the apprentices so that they know sort of that they're fitting into a much larger system here. Egypt and Babylon. So, so long ago, they were organizing their tradespeople, their craftspeople into different training groups so that they could ensure that there were enough people to do the work that needed to be done. This model is carried over and more formalized in Europe 800 years ago. That's really where the apprenticeship model first took shape, where we had apprentices, then journey workers, journey people, and then the master. And it's pretty interesting to read about this stuff, just sort of what you could do. Journey work, your journey work and your master work was actually something that you crafted and had to display to other masters to move up to the next level. So pretty neat that there was kind of a capstone that you had to complete to move up. And then that model carried over to the American colonies. So apprenticeship was common there. And we see this same model that's really influenced so many other professions. Teachers, there's student teaching. You have to pay your dues and get out there around other teachers to move forward. Universities, the master's degree, the same terminology that you become a master of your craft or of your profession. In medicine, this is really interesting. Was interesting for me to learn. Surgeons were more craftspeople originally. Now you think of a surgeon like top of the medical profession, but back in the day, surgeons were seen as craftspeople. They worked with their hands, whereas the physicians, would diagnose. So there was a whole apprenticeship model applied there. Lawyers apprentice under more seasoned lawyers. With religion, novitiates and folks, you don't just jump in to lead a congregation or lead a group. You have to move up the ranks. And then, of course, with student apprenticeship, even in traditional college settings, those are co-ops. They come into businesses and they can work and get paid and get that direct experience before they're even graduated with a degree. So I think this really frames the whole process of apprenticeship well, so that apprentices know that they're not just sort of doing something that our company put together or that, that the trades have put together. This is something that really has existed for, as long as civilization almost, right? Next slide, please. So we brought apprenticeship into Messer Construction Company back in 2008. We started our carpentry apprenticeship, which is a 4-year apprenticeship program. And then in 2011, we started a labor apprenticeship program, which is just a 2-year version of that carpentry apprenticeship, similar classes, but some folks don't necessarily want to go through to become a carpentry journey person. A labor journey person, there's a little bit less training, but maybe their focus is more on concrete. We do a lot of concrete work and really getting trained in those skills and then becoming a journey person on the job. That appeals to some people rather than continuing on. So nice to have options. These are all Department of Labor approved, registered apprenticeships. And really Kentucky has been great with assisting with this. The technical assistance we got when we were first working towards apprenticeship was just great. We were shown the steps along the way. So shout out to Kentucky Apprenticeship there. You really made the process easy for us, even all those years ago, 2008. It's going to be 15 years and not too long. So, all right, next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we offer. There's a lot of different models of apprenticeship. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm going to talk about how we do it here at Messer and how we've found that we get the best outcomes. So we use the curriculum from NCCER, National Center for Construction Education, and research. Those trainings really, they cover a lot of good stuff. And then we add to that sort of, we call it messerized content, things that our company really wants people to know about those different topics to make sure that that they're able to perform work to sort of our quality standards and exactly what our owners want. Messer subject matter experts are the ones who teach our instructor-led classes. So these classes are held weekly, Monday nights, and it's a big commitment. Apprentices are in class from September all the way through May each year that they're in apprenticeship. And then we usually give them the summer off from classes. But of course, folks are working still full time. So our enrollment in apprenticeship keeps growing. We're seeing an average of 15% year over year growth. There's interest. People want to learn, and they keep signing up. So that's been great. Our current enrollment right now, we've got 42 craft people in the labor apprenticeship program and 16 in the carpentry apprenticeship program. So, keep on training, folks. Next slide, please. Our graduates from our carpentry apprenticeship program, they can receive credit hours towards an associate's degree in a related trade, construction related, at these different institutions. And that's something that we, continue to look for opportunities. But Jefferson Career and Technical College there in Louisville, Cincinnati State for our Northern Kentucky folks in the Cincinnati market, and Ivy Tech, which is just across the river from Louisville. Those are all options that people, if they want to continue on their education and go, sort of a more formal route towards a degree, they can do that, and they get some credits to transfer over. So we're proud of that. And then something that really should perk up the ears of any employer these days, we've seen 95% retention for our labor apprenticeship graduates and 90% retention from our carpentry apprenticeship graduates. So, in this labor market, I think that counts for even more because, right now, quality employees are at a premium. So, so this has really been a good tool that we've used to help with our retention. Next slide, please. So the requirements, just want to go over these with you a little bit so you get a sense of what we need from our apprentices. There's an age requirement because of course you're working with tools. Education, you need to have or be working towards a high school diploma or a GED. And then there's interest testing also. So we've used the Work Keys skills assessments, talk about that in just a minute. You have to be able to get to work and to apprenticeship. And then of course there's pre-employment drug screening, which is industry standard for construction. Next slide, please. So we've gone with a Work Keys skills test. ACT, the ACT test, they're the ones who put out this assessment. And we've liked using this because it really is, it's more practical application of math. Graphic literacy is sort of looking at something, for us, blueprints all the time, but looking at a graph or a chart and being able to pull information out of that. And then workplace documents, being able to, read for content and that sort of thing. All important skills. Some would not think that those are directly applicable, but apprenticeship, you're reading texts, you're taking written tests, and you're having to apply those skills practically. So, all these standard skills are really important to the construction trade as well. So, next slide, please. Requirements for a registered apprentice. Once you're in the program, you have to complete a minimum of 144 hours of classroom instruction each year. You've got to pass all of our tests with 70% or higher. All of the required performance profiles need to be completed. Those are their hands-on practicals, which is so important. And then the other part of the hands-on learning, they have to complete at least 2,000 hours each year of on-the-job training. So this is really where the hands-on comes in. This is applying the skills to what you're doing day in, day out picking up tips from your foreman, from other folks on the job. That's all, an essential part of being an apprentice, because, you can learn something in a classroom, but not until you practice it and practice it and practice it can you really become skilled and then master it. So that's so important. Next slide, please. With or on the job training hours, we ask for people to report each month, even when classes aren't in session in the summer. And we have several tasks areas that we need for apprentices to get hours in. So we really want for their experience to be well-rounded. So, we want for a labor apprentice to have experience in safety training. We want them to have concrete experience. For carpentry on the job training hours, we want to make sure that they know how to build concrete forms, and also that they know how to do interior work and that finish work. So, important to get the whole range of experience. And that's part of apprenticeship too, working with our craft force managers who do the scheduling to make sure that these apprentices are getting placed on jobs where they can get different experiences. Next slide. So just a little snapshot of how we run our program on classroom days. When people are coming into the class to learn our class schedule, normally we ask people to get there a little bit early. We do our attendance, and then we start out with a pre-test. They take a written test on the subject matter, and it doesn't matter what they score. We just want to know what they already know before starting that course. We go into the instructor-led training, and then at the conclusion of the course, they take another test. They need to score above a 70% just to show that they've retained the material. And so that's the extent of that. But you see, it's a 4-hour class. So that's a lot to ask of folks. This is Monday nights, and 4 to 8 every Monday night. It's a big investment for these apprentices. So, my hat really goes off to them for this. Next slide, please. Our practical instruction nights are when we're not in the classroom, when we're actually on the job site or someplace actually using the knowledge that we learned in class and applying it to real job tasks. So, apprentices have to have PPE on. I don't know if you see Cedric, he's used to this. He's got his safety glasses on and his mask already, even though he's on our call. So, he knows how to do it. We do practical instruction. Each apprentice demonstrates their hands-on skills. So with larger classes, that can take some time, but it's really important that the subject matter expert gets to make sure that people know what they're doing, and that once they get their hands on a task, they can complete it with quality. So, and again, that's a 4-hour class too. So 4-hour classes each Monday evening for the whole span of apprenticeship. So whether that's a 2-year program for labor or 4 years, you think of all that time in, that really is a big investment, and our company really values that. So next slide, please. Okay, so once you complete, congratulations, you've finished your apprenticeship program. They get a Department of Labor certificate. We offer a regional dinner, which is a lot of fun. We go to a nice restaurant. They're allowed to invite their mentor and a couple family members along, friends or family. So that's really a good time. They also get a monogrammed Carhartt coat or jacket they can select from. And so we've got the Messer logo on there and got their name. And the labor apprentices can continue on into carpentry apprenticeship if that's something that they are interested in learning. That's what Cedric did. Or you can finish up with your labor apprenticeship and go on to be promoted to a journey worker and just continue your career growth. So a couple options there. Next slide, please. And then how we work with apprentices after they graduate, we want to offer them other educational opportunities here at Messer. So we've got some other programs. Just wanted to highlight these. An introduction to craft leadership program that apprentice graduates can take. And that's really sort of learning some of the skills to become a good foreman, some of those leadership and communication skills. And then we've got a full craft leadership program for newer foremen to really, grow into that position. Leaders are created, not born. So we really want to provide that training to folks who want to further their career and look at a foreman position after apprenticeship. So we really want to make that that road to formal leadership transparent and available to anyone who wants to go that direction here at Messer. So, all right, well, let's introduce with the next slide, Cedric Mack. Cedric, thanks for being on the call with us. I just got a couple questions for you. So nothing too tricky, but just for the audience out there, would you share with us what made you want to join apprenticeship here at Messer?
All right. I'm Cedric Mack, and what made me want to get into it is just it's just a good way to learn more information outside of work that you are doing. Like for say, like if you're on a job and they're not doing something that you want to learn how to do, like the apprenticeship program is just an opportunity to learn way more different things that outside of the workforce, if you understand what I'm saying. And it's also a good way to get your name out there, a good way to familiarize yourself to the company and everything like that. So that's pretty much why.
Yeah, thanks, Cedric. And yeah, you really hit on a good point. Our foremen, our admin folks, our managers, senior managers, they notice when people are apprentices here. That's, that really shows. So it's a nice way to be noticed, like Cedric said. So if you want to move up, it's a great way to show that and have a tool to show that, rather than just seeking people out and saying, hey, I want to be a foreman someday. This really, this puts it into action. So, yeah. And then just one more question. How do you think apprenticeship, when you finish up your carpentry apprenticeship, how do you think it'll achieve your goals here at Messer, your career goals?
All right. I think this program can help me achieve my goal by just showing everybody, that I can commit to something that could show that I'm like a asset, like I'm loyal to Messer, and I can actually complete something. You know what I'm saying? Like I can actually stick with something, and whenever an opportunity will come and a time will come, they can look at this program and see that I went through and did several hours outside of work to just perfect my craft. That's just feel like that's a great way to help me achieve all my goals. So, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Yep. Thanks, Cedric. Definitely, your commitment is on full display. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for getting on the call with me, Cedric. I really appreciate it. And we'll just wrap up with the next slide.
All right.
Thanks so much for having us here. See you in class, everybody. I do just want to close with, registered apprenticeship has been a great thing for Messer. If you're looking at something along the lines of offering that with your company, Kentucky Apprenticeship has really made that an easy thing. Even as long as we've been with apprenticeship and offering it, even this year, having some conversations with Angela about, things we can do better. The help doesn't stop once you get approved. It really is something that, these folks here at the state office are committed to. So I want to thank them again, and thanks for the opportunity to share with you.
Thank you, Brandon. And thank you, Cedric. Cedric, I think you brought up another talking point for apprentices, and that's the networking aspect, or getting your name out there. That's awesome. Something that I really hadn't thought about. So now I get to add that into my presentation. So I appreciate that.
Of
And,
course.
and Brandon, thank you for your overview of Messer. And again, you touched on retention rates. Apprenticeship is definitely one of those, a solution to your retention problems if you're encountering those. And the other thing I wanted to touch on is your program goes beyond apprenticeship, which is great. Just wanted to point out that those next steps, so those leadership positions are also apprenticeable if so you can have like a tiered apprenticeship. Don't just have to do one, you can do more. So that, I just want to point it out. So
Yeah,
thank you very much, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Shane Stuber. He is with Trilogy Health Services. He's the Assistant Vice President. And Shane, please tell us a little bit about your program.
Right. Thanks, guys. Maybe the other two were so good. I almost hate to go last after them. They crushed it. So hi, I'm Shane Stuber. I'm the AVP of our workforce grants as well as foundation with Trilogy Health Services. Who's Trilogy? Well, Trilogy is we have 126 senior living facilities in 4 states. I'm sitting in Louisville, Kentucky right now, and that's where we're based and headquartered. We have 17 facilities, mainly kind of in the Lexington, Louisville, I guess markets, those areas, and that's really kind of who we were 24 years ago. And we also have facilities, again, of the 126. We're in Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. And we're not looking to leave those 4 states. We're looking to grow in those. So what we do is, and you've probably heard of some of our facilities, but you don't know them as Trilogy, right? We don't market them as a Trilogy facility directly. It's more like Forest Springs or the Willows at Hamburg and Lexington, Forest Springs, things of that nature. So and we offer the full continuum of care, which basically means that anything from independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, and rehab to home, all of those things are on one centralized campus. And that makes it a little bit easier for us to kind of manage, but we do it all. If you think of how we can interact with seniors, we do all of it. So, and it was around, well, I started here in 2015. And was there a question? I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. In 2015 is when I started, so almost 7 years ago. And we were talking about career pathing then. So we're just trying to, figure that out, right? I mean, we're in a little bit higher turnover kind of industry, maybe not as bad as retail, but not great. So as we're thinking about it, we started doing a little bit of some grant work in different states. So in 2016, we received a grant from Michigan, a little grant, and the next year we applied for it again. And it was fascinating because they said, oh, you get extra points on this grant if you have a registered apprenticeship. And no one in our company had any idea, and we have like 12,000 employees. We had no idea that registered apprenticeships could be in healthcare. Kind of like what Mary Beth said about IT. Not many people know, but we can. So there were only 2 other nurse aide or CNA registered apprentices in the country. And I think one was in Arizona and maybe one in like Massachusetts or something. So nothing in the Midwest or the South. So we went ahead and looked at those. And as Sean said, we made it our own. That's what they said. The DOL folks said, make it your own. And that was obviously the best advice, because we wanted to own our own standards because, we feel like we have a cultural advantage and we want to embed that into the training. Even though we don't do a lot of our trainings, right? We hire out to some wonderful, wonderful organizations. But we knew we wanted to embed the culture part, and that's been huge for us. So we launched Nurse Aide or CNA apprenticeship in 2017, and we liked it. And we said, wow, we think this could be pretty big. So in 2018, we launched it in all 4 states. And the next state we went to was Kentucky. And Kentucky, honestly, I'm not just saying this because this is their webinar. I said this on another webinar that wasn't theirs earlier this week. But Kentucky is one of the easiest states in the country to work with on registered apprenticeships. They step you through it, every step of the way. Every state's a little different, right, on how they approach it. They may have some tweaks to your standards, but at the end of the day, Kentucky is awesome. They'll hold your hand and they'll walk you through it, even if you have no idea what you're doing. And we didn't, okay? We didn't in Trilogy, but we knew that was something we wanted to try, right? We felt like we tried so many other things. Let's put some resources toward this. And I'll tell you what, just like Interact and Messer, it's paid off in spades for us. So again, we launched Nurse Aid, and after we launched it company-wide in 2018, we said we started getting feedback from the rest of our folks at our senior living campuses that said, what about us? So we started, scrambling, obviously, just to see what we could do. And over the course of the next 18 months, or really, I guess, 20 months, we launched more. So right now, you can go to the next slide, sorry. Here's a quick snapshot of our registered apprenticeship tracks, as we call them fast track. That's our internal terminology. So we have Nurse Aid, I'll read left, right, and then the bottom. So Nurse Aid, Life Enrichment, Culinary, Hospitality, Business Office, Environmental Services, Plant Operations, and the newest is Pharmacy Tech. We own our own long-term care pharmacy. And so they heard about all the other things we were doing at the campus level, so they asked for something. So that's when we developed the Farm Tech program. And again, don't think that anyone out there listening to the three of us, with pretty well established registered apprenticeship programs, but we've been doing it for a while. Don't think that you have to have this overnight. I mean, this is several years in the making. But it's kind of like once you do one thing, then you realize the rhythm and the sequencing and what needs to happen, and it's much easier to build future tracks. Just to let you know, this was not something that happened overnight, and this is a lot of people coming together. But again, of all of those tracks, and you can see like the pay increase for every single time that they complete something, right? So you'll see, CNA from not being certified to being certified is $1 an hour. Boom, right away. And all of them, of course, because by DOL standards, it has to have that. And it's a powerful tool. So much so that I'll go ahead and talk about us. We're in a higher turnover industry. At our campus level, at a senior living campus, as we call it, the industry has about 65% annual turnover pre-COVID, right? That's pre-COVID numbers. And ours was better than that, but probably at around 45%. And it's really closer to 40%. In some cases, in some of our campuses, it's below 15%. So, which again, in our industry, we feel very, very happy about that. So overall, for anyone who's completed even one module, one certification, one level of any of these tracks, we are retaining them at 81% a year. And look, it has paid for itself. Yeah, there's a lot of grant money out there, and actually there's more coming down from the federal government in the next few years. But at the end of the day, once you get this up and going, it will pay for itself, which is really beautiful to see that. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, I know this isn't nearly as pretty as Interactive Messer's slides, but this is what I see. So when I look at this is Power BI. So when I look at our overall completions, this is what I pull up sometimes. So what you see in the corner, yep. Oh, thank you. Nice. Thank you, Vanna. And over 14,000 completions. What does that mean? So every little box that you saw in the last slide is a level of a track. Okay. Well, every time one of those is completed. So sometimes, one person, obviously you want one person to complete, 4, but sometimes they've just started, maybe they've done 1, they've done 2. But since we launched this, we've had 14,000 completions. What does that mean? That's 14,000 times that someone increased their knowledge base, okay, and they're on the job training, so that they increased their knowledge and their skills. And number 2, what they also did was they got a premium pay increase, as we call it, or pay bump, or raise. And so 14,000 times that's happened. It's interesting. People came to us as we were starting to put this together with Nurse Aid. And I remember people saying, these daggone millennials, they want something every 3 months. They want to get a pay increase every 3 months. And we thought about that. And we said, yeah, who doesn't? Maybe as a Gen Xer, we didn't push for that as much, but that's one of the things we've learned from this younger generation is yeah, you know what, we can structure this program, and this program is really made like that, right? Where people can really push forward and they can increase their knowledge, they can increase their pay. And when those things happen, it's amazing that they'll retain. They will retain with you. They will become loyal, raving fans. And the other one of the huge outcomes that we've seen is not only that, but our employee referrals. Okay, so we know that if an employee refers someone else and we hire them, oh my goodness, man, they stay on 3 times longer than anybody else, 3 times. So our employee referrals have more than doubled in the past 2.5, almost 3 years now. And it's almost simply because of this, because people are saying, oh, you want to grow? Hey, you're a like-minded person. You're a like-hearted person. You have the same values that Trilogy tries to portray and live every day. And the beauty of that is they're recruiting their friends, they're recruiting their family members. And so our referrals have more than doubled from internal. And it's just, honestly, that's been huge for us, especially as you know, during COVID, we've struggled with staffing issues as well. But for 4 months in a row, even with a vaccine mandate to stay healthy, we've hired more people than we've lost. And so we're on we're on a really good trajectory. We're very blessed in that way. So let's go to the next slide. So this is what it looks like in Kentucky. So just in Kentucky, and again, we've been around since 18. So and so we've had, and so it's over 1,700 now. I gave Sean and Lawrence this information maybe a couple weeks ago. So it's over 1,700 completions, and it sort of breaks it down, right? On the left side, nurse aid, culinary, life enrichment, hospitality, and so that's been really, really exciting to see, because we can overlap that data with the data of employee referrals. We can overlap that data with employee retention at the campus level, and it all coincides. And so this is really a catalyst for what we're trying to do to help our employees grow. And ultimately, right, the reason we're doing it is so we can serve our constituents, our residents who are seniors, much better. Let's go to the next slide. So here's what's in progress. So, which to me is maybe even more exciting than what was completed. We have 1,700 completions, but we have 830 in progress right now of the different levels. And it's been huge. And the one that I'm super excited about is the culinary. So the third number down on the left. So we have 198 folks that are, and those are individuals that are working on different things right now. And it's so cool to see that because frankly, one of the biggest complaints about the senior living industry is their food's terrible. And we get that all the time. So maybe 12, 13 years ago, our founder, Randy Bufford, he said, we're going to hire certified chefs in every single campus. And we do. And our food scores have gone up way, way higher. On a 10-point scale, we averaged right just above a 9 in our food scores, which we're very proud of, because this can be a picky group, right? Seniors can be picky when it comes to food. So the culinary side, we're really attracting some high level talent these days, and because they want to grow, and not many people in our sector, in the healthcare sector, are doing this. They don't really have a career path for someone. Unfortunately, I don't have one of my apprentices, and I'll explain here in a little while. She wasn't able to be here because someone called in sick, so she's having to fill in. But I will tell her story here in a little while, and she's in the culinary program. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So one of the things that we're doing is we're still growing this thing. So even though we have 8 registered apprenticeship tracks, as we call them, or programs, we're not going to stop there. We're going to keep doing this. We have, Messer and Interact both talked a lot about, and this is fantastic. They crosswalked their curriculum with higher education, post-secondary education partners, right? So they're getting some college credit. And we've done that as well. Look, and the beauty of that is, if the curriculum's there, You just meet with the schools. It's not like, okay, you know, it's really not as hard as you think. It's giving this to schools and saying, hey, here's our curriculum. Can you crosswalk this? Tell us what you can give us. Can you give our people any, you know, credit for anything? Look, I mean, schools these days, you know, whether they're community colleges, and we have a fantastic community college system in Kentucky. I mean, it will rival any in the country, which is awesome. You know, we're working with them as well. And community colleges are beating kind of the big schools to the punch, right? Because they're a little bit more adaptive. They typically are more adaptive, and they say, yeah, we want to do more. And we want to figure out how to partner with you, not just on degrees, right? But on certifications. And so that's been huge. It's been a fantastic partnership for us. And the culinary side, when you complete our 4-step culinary program, and we've hired this group called Ruby, ROUXBE. It's the same company that does the culinary training for Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons, and Marriott. So once we heard that and saw the curriculum, we said, yeah, you're going to be our partner too. And so once our folks, our culinary folks go through those, they have earned, I think it's 27 credits, okay, toward an associate's degree in culinary, okay, through the KCTCS. So they're halfway through their associate's degree, and then we'll pay for the rest of it if they want to go the rest of the way. And it's really amazing to see that, to see folks, you know, going through this program, because a lot of times they'll come to us and they'll say, you know, I just need a job, you know, sometimes. And I think I firmly believe that 90% of them want a career path. They may not know to ask for it. Then again, they may not believe in themselves just yet. So we've seen, you know, that this program allows people to gain not only knowledge and skills, but confidence. And that has been huge for us. And so that's why we're going to keep growing this. So I want to tell the story now of Shannon Winburn. She is an the dining services assistant director. She came to us in 2003, right? That's quite a long time ago. And she came as a line cook. She said, you know, I just, you know, kind of want a job, want a line cook. I like to cook, you know. And so she started cooking and started liking it. But again, I can't believe, I'm so happy she stayed with us as long as she did before we had our program. We're so lucky to not lose her. And then when we launched this program, she was absolutely the first person to sign up for it, the culinary. And so she did, and she started completing and gained the confidence, and it was amazing. And again, she was a line cook for us for it was like 14 years, 15 years almost, before she started on this upward trajectory. So now she's an assistant director, and you know, she said she never had goals for really for that until she saw that she could have really powerful growth and that she could really increase her skills. So now her natural leadership abilities are coming out because of her confidence, and she's in line. As soon as another DFS, or director of food services job, opens up in Kentucky, she's really pretty much next in line to get it. And she's worked her tail off. And again, I wish I had a picture. I wish she was here. I can't even do it justice, but that's the beauty of a registered apprenticeship program. And you know, what you give your employees is really priceless. And so that's essentially who Trilogy is. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Again, to serve our senior residents, we know that we have to really serve and train and treat our employees like royalty. And that's what the registered apprenticeship program does. It's a great structure, and it holds us accountable, right? It's so easy to let things slip. But the beauty of this program is it forces you to be accountable, and that's what's going to help your program grow. And as you grow, the ripple effects, the downstream positive impacts are limitless. And so, we couldn't be more honored to work with Kentucky and to be a part of the RAP program.
Thank you, Shane, for your overview of Trilogy. Appreciate it. I'd like to touch on referrals. Another benefit of a good registered apprenticeship program. If you and the other companies are doing it right, you'll definitely have referrals. And we all know looking for good employees can be challenging these days. And then a great story about your apprentice. Just want to point out that apprenticeship isn't always for new employees. It can be a current employee that is looking to upskill or move into leadership or whatever the case may be. So great story. But I have to say, Shane, always my favorite part is when you talk about how easy it is to work with our office, we try to make it as easy as possible. And we want to help businesses succeed and provide those opportunities for those apprentices. So,
Hey, Sean.
Yes, sir.
So, let's just say this. This is the fourth call I've been in our 4 states this week. I've been blessed to sit on other panels. It's the only state I've said that on. Just saying that. Just saying it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you, Mary Beth, Brandon, and Shane for your presentations. And of course, thank you to Cedric and Keisha for joining us on the call. Before I turn it back over to our Executive Director, Michelle DeJean, there was a question about recording. Will it be made available? And Patrick, are you able to answer that question for us?
Sean, I can answer that question for you.
Okay,
there
thank you,
will
Bob.
be a recording available that we will send out to all attendees by tomorrow afternoon at the latest.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kyle. I appreciate that. So again, thank you to our panelists. Thank you for the audience in listening to us. So I'll turn it back over to Michelle.
I echo everything that the Kentucky Registered Apprenticeship team had to say. I again would like to thank our registered apprenticeship sponsors and apprentices for taking this time out of their busy days and busy schedules to help us celebrate National Apprenticeship Week, and for saying everything that we say. We're here to help employers of the Commonwealth in registered apprenticeship. We have just a few more minutes. Is there any questions from any participants in our final closing minutes of today's session? Kyle, can they unmute and ask a question, or?
The attendees will not be able to,
Okay.
but they can submit it.
Is there any, we'll give a few seconds to put a question in chat. You had a dying question for either anyone on the registered apprenticeship team or a sponsor.
Hey, Michelle, I'd just like to say, if you think of one after this presentation, please reach out to us at apprenticeship@ky.gov. Again, that's apprenticeship@ky.gov. Even if you have a question for Interap, Messer, or Trilogy, reach out to us and we'll definitely get you in touch with them. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. That was what we're going to need to close. Apprenticeship@ky.gov. We have a question from Johnny Williams regarding if it's available SHRM or ACR credit. We'll have to follow up with you on that. So we'll have to respond to that by email. So apprenticeship@ky.gov. Thank you again, everyone. Happy National Apprenticeship Week. We will go ahead, Kyle, and we'll end just a few minutes early. Thank you again, everyone.